3 powerful ways to seduce women without spending money. Now listen, I'm not calling your ass broke. I'm not doing that. But sometimes, it gets expensive, these women. It gets a little pricey. I understand. So I'm going to teach you how to seduce us, but without breaking your bank. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Arica Angelo, dating and relationship expert for 16 years now, and author, speaker, television host. I'm so glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe and like this video, and that will let YouTube know, oh, this guy wants to know how to seduce women. Listen, by the end of this video, you're fully gonna understand what it takes to seduce women without having to kill your finances, but also how you can feel empowered in the seduction process. Ultimately, you wanna walk away from the experience feeling like the man, and you're gonna know exactly how to feel that way by the end of this video. I'm so glad you're here, and let's just jump right into it. Listen, have you seen the video? There's this actor, and the way that he looks at people, it looks like he's making love to you and just taking your clothes off just through the look. And that is the first powerful way that you can seduce any woman without breaking the bank, without spending money. When a man looks at us with this intention, with this desire in his eyes, and he's really focused on what we're saying. When we're talking to him, he's literally looking at our lips as they move. He's so intentional with his look. And now some of you guys might be thinking like, Arica, am I gonna come off like a creep? Depends. If you have that powerful seduction energy, no, she's gonna be entranced by you. If you have some social awkwardness, yes, it's gonna feel a little creepy to her, and I'm gonna show you how you can correct that. But when a man looks at us and he is so intent with his gaze, he's so, as 50 would say, he's full of focus, man. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent. When he's looking at us with that kind of focus, it unnerves us, but it also unlocks us down there. It's just like, whew, I didn't even know that was locked up, but he apparently has a key, and he just unlocked me down below just with his freaking eyes. Can I tell you a story? I'm going to tell you a story, and I want to tell you the other 2 very powerful things. But I'll never forget, I got off a train, I think I was in Florence, Italy, and I walk out, and Italian men ooze sex. And I get off the train, and this man looks at me at the train station. This is why this seduction tool is so powerful. I get off the train, and the guy just looks at me, and he's looking me up and down, but he will not look anywhere else. He's maintaining that eye gaze upon me, and he was good looking, and he just kept staring at me as we were walking in opposite directions. And I shit you not, I was like, ooh, did we just have sex? Like, what happened? That dude had some energy on him. This is why it's so powerful, because it is energy. And when you can really own that power as being the seducer, when you know that you're the seducer of women, of your woman, it's an energy exchange. And so when you give that full intent, she's like, oh. Now listen, I've been reading your comments, and a lot of you guys, when I release some of my other courses, you're like, Arica, I can't even seduce a girl into a coffee. Can you help me out? I can help you out. I just released a brand new seduction guide that takes you from the very beginning all the way to the end. Like, how do you start off in the beginning with meeting her at a coffee shop to getting her in the bedroom. And I've even heard you married guys who are like, my wife hasn't had sex with me in 10 years. Listen, you want to get this as well, because there are some tools in there that I give you that you probably have stopped doing. And when you do this guide, it will get you back into the bedroom with your wife. So get that seduction guide. But yeah, when a man can really own that seduction energy inside of him, and when he puts that gaze on us, we can feel the transference of energy. So what about you guys who are socially awkward? You're like, Arica, that's cool for the Italian dude, but I don't have that kind of suave. I don't have that je ne sais quoi. Well, for you guys, you want to continue with the eye gaze, that seductive eye gaze of looking at her intently. But if you know that you're socially awkward, look away a couple times. You're like, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. So when you're looking at her intently, with intensity, look away a couple of times, look around. And what that does is it gives her a break and it gives you a break, and just play back and forth with that energy. But you want to continue moving forward with that powerful seduction tool of looking at her with intention. It's the look that you guys give can just unnerve us from the inside out. Here's the second powerful tool that you can seduce a woman with without breaking the bank. And I will never forget that a mentor of mine, she said, Arica, people love talking about themselves. When you're with a woman, you can seduce her by listening to her story. When a woman opens up and she starts telling you things and you start asking more questions, so you're pulling her story out of her, where she comes from, what are her dreams, what are her desires, what's she afraid of, what has she accomplished, what more does she want to accomplish, what has it taken for her to get there? When you listen to her story intently, that is seduction in itself. This actually works with anybody, but especially with women, because sometimes men can be too in their heads and they don't listen to what a woman is actually saying. But when she starts sharing her story with you, and here is this kicker, this is how she knows you're listening to her story, is when you can repeat back to her what she said. Or when she tells you a different part of her story and you repeat back something that she said earlier, she's like, oh my God, who is this guy? What it is we feel an instant connection. When someone has heard our story and they're intentional with listening to us and they repeat back to us what we said, that proves to us that they indeed are listening. This makes us mesmerized with the person. All of a sudden, we're attracted to you. We're seduced by you because we're like, wow, this person really gets me. And you may not even get her. You may not even agree with her story, or you may not respect it, or whatever the case may be. But the mere fact that you are paying attention, you're listening to her story, this is super seductive. And the last one, which is the most powerful one, and it's the one that I see that most men just don't ever do. But when you can use this powerful tool, you can seduce a woman without having to spend money. And that is always, and I will preach this forever, forever, ever, forever, ever, forever, ever, forever, ever. And that's touch, man. You've got to touch us. I've told you time and time again, I'm going to keep telling you that when you touch another human being, it goes past the brain. It goes past the analytical mind, and it brings her back into her body. It brings her back into that experience, because seduction happens what? In the mind, in the body, in the heart. But when you're touching her, what you're essentially doing is bringing her back to her body. When it's holding her hand, it's touching her arms, moving the hair out of her face, guiding her by putting your hand on her back, opening up the door, and when she goes in, touching the back part of her back, touching her back as she goes through the door. You know, the French people, we do the double kiss out here. All of these things, anything that you can do that seems appropriate to get some touch in, so powerful, so seductive. So when you're talking to her and she's saying something like, you know what, I totally agree with you. Just resting your hand on top of her hand and then moving it. Oh my God, what you're doing is making her feel in her body again, and she's more likely to be seduced by you. So really quick, a recap here is, one, it's the eyes. It's looking at her with that intention, that focus. Second thing is listening to her story. And third is the touch. In the comment section below, I want to know which one will you do, because your life's not going to change unless you go out and start putting this to practice with real women. And don't forget, if you're a newbie or even if you're married, get my seduction guide. It's in the comments. It's in the description. Click that immediately. Listen, I can't wait to read all your comments. I love reading your comments. And with that in mind, I have a whole playlist of videos here to really support you. If you really want to change your seduction, guys, you have to be intentional. You have to be focused. And here's a whole bunch of videos that will get you there. I love you. You have what it takes. I'll see you soon.